At some point, you started TikTok.
Yeah.
Why and how did you start with TikTok?
So it was because of my sister. She was on Musical.ly, which was what the name of the app was before. I didn't personally believe in the app, and I remember I used to make fun of people who were on Musical.ly, which was one of them was my sister. And then when it became TikTok, I still didn't believe in it so much. This was like early 2019, I think.
And what was also Instagram was big.
Instagram was big, Twitter was big.
Okay.
You know, Vine had just died a couple of years back. And so I remember my sister pushing me to post some of my videos, which I had previously been actively posting on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. And I saw I got 100,000 views on the first post.
What video was that?
It was a video of me dressed up as a Jinn, which was one of the characters that I used to play in my videos. And I was basically chasing myself from the hallway to my room. Like whenever you turn off the lights, you feel like someone's chasing you. That was the concept, and it was with a trending sound. And when like immediately everyone was engaged to that video.
Yeah.
So that was like for me, okay, I don't care if TikTok is good or not. This is a platform where I can reach more people, and this is 2020 Feb.
Okay.
So that was when I started TikTok.
Okay. And then at some point that led to you doing TikTok for different companies, right?
Yeah. So from that point in 2020, was it 2019? I'm not even sure anymore. But yeah, from that point till I think another 8 months, I was working in another media company, and I was about to resign, and I had grown a decent following of like 60,000 or 70,000 on TikTok by now. And so the clients that I was working with, one of them approached me and said, "Hey, I've seen you do videos for yourself. Why don't you come do it for us?" And I was like, what am I going to do? You know, like, what is this guy asking me? Like, I'm not going to dress up as the Jinn and promote his business, you know? And so he's like, no, what we want you to do is create our profile and make videos for us using our materials, our staff. And so that was where I got my first freelance gig of making TikToks for another company.
Before we go further into that, I've missed out a bit, because how did you end up in media now? Because that's another
shift. So a lot of jobs, a lot of experimental work. I even worked in schools for a good point of time in my life. I was working in this company called Spider Frogs, and they were an events company, and they would set up these planetarium domes inside schools, and I was in charge of setting that up. And so I met a bunch of people there, and then I was working in that same tech company that I told you. So I met I made some good connections over there with some people, and one of the people who was working with me in that tech company was working in this media company. And so it was Soul DXP, where this guy goes like, yo, man, he had resigned for like 3-4 months now from the tech company. And he gave me the business card of the media company. He's like, yo, man, we're hiring people. You should definitely come check it out. It's a really cool, fun place for people who are content creators, influencers. I mean, content creator wasn't a thing back then, but they basically were doing production. It sounded cool to me. Sounded something, exciting, something different. I was like, fuck it, man, let's try it out. And I remember I went for the interview, I got the job, and that was also where I dropped out from college.
And at that point, was it another feeling of like feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Well, not comfortable, but feeling at home maybe in this new space.
Like for me, it was like another puzzle that I have now that I want to solve.
Of course.
And a puzzle that I'm going to enjoy solving.
Yeah.
Another challenge that I'm going to enjoy doing.
For sure.
So surrounded with cameras, surrounded with media, it really made me feel like this is something that I want to learn, and this is something that I want to do. But then, you're this innocent kid that gets into any work. And I realized this even with the tech company, and you find corruption. And so that was the case even there. Like I found real soon that the market is so messed up on so many different levels.
Of course.
Yeah.
And how did you actually start? What was the reason for you to actually start making funny videos?
So that goes all the way back to during my university time when I had this whole low phase of just I was extremely depressed. Life wasn't really making that much sense. I wasn't working that much at that point, and so I used to tweet a lot. I used to tweet about my depression in a funny way. I mean, I've always been the class clown or the lame friend in the group, and so that was something there inside of my brain from the beginning. Now it was, I guess, an outlet that I was looking for. So Twitter was where I would make, I wouldn't say skits, but videos which I found funny. Like I just put music behind a chicken crossing the road, and that's funny to me. Or I just, I don't know, dance to a ringtone and post that. That's funny to me. Like it was whatever was funny to me.
And it was something. It was like a coping mechanism or something to help you
could
deal
say
with what you were dealing
keep myself busy.
Yeah.
And I remember the most viral video was me third wheeling a couple and sitting in the back seat, and I was just like, I would just put my head like this on my shoulder, and the couple was leaning against, one of them was leaning against the other one on their shoulder. They're married now, by the way. Funny story. But that video blew up, so that's where I kind of discovered, okay, I can really have fun with content.
And was it always fun, or when did it get to the point where it was you started to work out how to improve it and do it in a better way? Because it sounds like with everything you do, whatever industry or whatever job you end up in, at some point you start trying to really work it out.
Yeah. So I think it was when I started getting, so that video, right? When that video blew up, I wanted to understand how I can do that again. And
okay.
What made that happen? How did that happen? And why did that happen? And what are the possibilities? And then you go into this rabbit hole of trial and error.
And reverse engineer. Happened, right.
And you break it down, and I was obsessed, man. I still am. Like I even tried YouTube at that point where I was trying to create a show. I still remember, and that's how I learned so much so quickly, because I had no expectation. Like I don't know if I'm gonna make $1 million tomorrow from cracking the code of the algorithm or understanding how to make the best piece of content. I am just curious to know why this, for example, why is this glass shaped like this? What is the material of this glass? What machine makes that material? Where does this come from? Down to the molecular level, I'm going to go down to that extreme to find out the answers. I'm that kid who used to watch How It's Made for food.
I still love that show, by the way.
The best show. Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Discovery Science is what I watch,
Sure.
Still, I still love these shows.
Yeah. And so when did you start your agency?